Hey guys, let me tell you what happens when a 72-year-old man on Social Security tries dating in the Philippines. I walked into this thinking I was ready. I wasn't even close. Today, I'm going to walk you through 10 nightmares that I lived through. The scams, the silent treatment, the family expectations, and the lessons I had to learn the hard way. I call this the Facebook inbox trap. Man, you sign up for Facebook, and you should have Facebook when you come here to the Philippines. Most men have it. All Filipinos seem to have Facebook. It's the easiest way to communicate. But that Facebook trap, when you get here, you change everything. You put where you live, Dumaguete, and your age, and your relationship status, single. I changed mine. I had to change mine from married to single. And once I did that, the next day I had like 47 friends requests from females. I'm going, oh wow, I was flattered. So many women were sending their friends requests to me. But as I started to look at each one, most of them had their profile locked. To have access to her profile, you have to accept her friend's request. And once you accept the friend's request, does not necessarily tell you where they live. It doesn't really tell you their relationship status because they have all that hidden. All they have is a bunch of photos, and not photos of birthdays and school events or nieces and cousins and family. It's just random photos. And these are the ones you need to stay away from. There's no history of them having a family. And most women on Facebook who are sending out all these massive friends requests are scamming in a way. I'm not saying each and every one is, but a lot of them are. But it's such a nightmare to get on Facebook and try to communicate with people, and they don't even know your name. And when you finally start talking to them, they're shocked that you're living in the Philippines. Well, if you look at my Facebook, I'm in the Philippines all over the place. It shows that I'm a blogger. It shows I live in Dumaguete. It shows I've been here 4 years. All that information's there for someone to look. But they don't even look at that. It's a numbers game to them. The nightmare of dealing with dating on Facebook. It's hard. I try to keep my dating to 4 islands. I want to date people on 4 islands nearby. Negros itself, Cebu Island, Bohol Island, and Sikihor. And those are the 4 geographically suitable places for me to find someone to date. And how many of you guys run into this nightmare? You're talking to somebody for days and maybe even a couple weeks, or it could be as little as 10 minutes. And the conversation is going good, and all of a sudden it switches to money. A lot of these short conversations where in the first 10 minutes, 20 minutes of texting back and forth, they go, can I ask you a favor? Can I ask you a question? And of course, you know what that's leading to. Can they ask you for money? And a lot of times they go, I need money for my baby. I need milk money. Or we don't have anything to eat. Well, were they never going to eat again if you didn't pop up on Facebook for them? It's really saddening and heartbreaking and a nightmare to wade through what is real and what is not real. Could this woman be here messaging you, and she just got done messaging 10 other guys earlier that day, and she has another handful that she's going to message later in the day, and get something off of each one? That's her job, to try to find somebody worth dating, someone worth meeting in the maze of Facebook. And the way they ask for money, and if you go a couple days, then they come back with the phone, hey, I wish I could send you a picture, but my phone's broken. The camera's not working. They want you to buy them a new phone. Or they tell you, oh, I had a family emergency. I can't talk to you for a couple days. And out of concern, you're saying, what's wrong? And they tell you their uncle is sick or their grandmother is sick in the hospital. And they tell you they need help with the medical bills. They put a guilt trip on you. Oh, I can't talk to you until we take care of this problem. And you're really liking this girl. And, the money, total of the money is not what is important here. It's that you're emotionally investing yourself into this person. And to get heartbroken, be emotionally bankrupt after you're done communicating with this person, making the next person you reach out to even harder for you to trust and talk to. The trust factor changes as each and every one of these conversations always turn to money. And yes, the pressure these girls are under, if they just tell their relatives, their family, hey, I'm talking to a foreigner online, they start pressuring her to ask for money. You know, to them, you're just an ATM machine. To her, maybe you are somebody she really likes. But the family pressure, the family's right there. You're 8,000 miles away or another island away. The pressure is for her to keep her family happy. And to keep her family happy, she has to ask. And if you give, and the family gets a little bit, every time the family has an emergency, anytime they have something that they normally could work through, the easiest way for them to solve the problem is to have her ask you. That is a big nightmare of dating here in the Philippines. And the nightmare of meeting somebody. I met somebody, and she lived in Sikihor. And I wanted her to come over here to meet me. And she did. I sent her some money and for the ferry. But man, it took a lot of persuading once she had the money to come. You know, get on that ferry and come here. Well, I can't leave my family. The weather, it might rain. There might be a typhoon. There's no typhoon. There's no rain. They're just looking for excuses to get out of coming. And I talked to one of my friends about this situation. I go, what do you do when you meet somebody far away and you got to pay for them to come visit you? Do you make that payment? Do you buy the ticket and send it to them? What do you do? And my friend told me, Mike, you have to say to her, you borrow the money, and when you get here, I'll reimburse you. If she really wants to see you, she can get 300, 400, 500 pesos to get here. And the girl would say he told me, sometimes the girl would say, oh, you don't trust me. You won't send me money because you don't trust me. And his reply is, you don't trust me if you don't just borrow the money, come here and I repay you. You're not trusting me. Trust goes both ways. And meeting somebody for the first time and you're paying for their transportation to you. A lot of us have done that. A lot of us will do that. Pay for them to travel to us, or we're going to go travel to them. Thing is, once they're decided they're going to come travel here, all of a sudden, they don't want to come alone. I want to bring somebody. I want to bring my cousin. I want to bring my friend. And maybe you're thinking 2 for 1. I got 2 girls coming and, you know, a little, but that isn't how it works. They're bringing somebody for safety, for convenience, someone they can talk to. They really don't trust you. They haven't met you yet. They shouldn't trust you, but you have to pay for 2. And then there's the disappointment. When they do show up, when you finally do get to meet this girl, and she looks nothing like her photo. You know, this day and age of AI and the ability of changing how a photo looks a little bit, making it look better than it really is, you know, get rid of the blemishes like I'm going to use to get rid of the bags under my eyes, all these different things they can use, these filters to make themselves look beautiful. That makes them look thinner, makes them look taller, bustier, prettier in the face, fuller lips, great teeth. And then when you meet them in person, they look nothing like the photo. This is when reality and fantasy collide, because in your mind, you're fantasizing this beautiful, sweet girl coming to visit you, and she's nothing like that. So let's talk about dating apps. My God, the endless swipes of these dating apps. And these dating apps are set for such a way for you never to click off. You know, one photo after another. Do you like this one? Yes. Then you flip another one. Do you like this one? Yes. And if you get on a free app and you click on a few of them, all of a sudden your inbox is full of messages, but they want you to upgrade to be able to contact these women. These dating apps are so frustrating to use. And these women, it's nothing but a numbers game. You know, they're just sending out message after message after message, looking for somebody who will become a paid member and we'll talk to them. Yeah, there are stories of people who have success on these paid apps. There are many good stories, but there are far more nightmare stories on these dating apps than there are success stories. And even though some of these apps say if someone asks you for money or somebody is sending you nude pictures, contact us and we'll have them removed from the platform. They just sign back on with another handle, another account. No Filipina is just on one dating app. They're on multiple dating apps. But the fatigue of always swiping and swiping, and the inbox on the app always full. Messages you get that give you false hope and keep you on the dating app, stringing you along. And the nightmare of ghosting. How many times did somebody meet somebody online? You're talking to them, you're enjoying their conversation. They haven't really asked for anything. It's all going in the positive direction. You're making plans in your head. I'm going to come visit them. Either, LDR, you're coming from a long way away, or just across the island. And the closer it gets to that date, you tell them, I'm coming September 1st. Oh, that's all great, and you're having a great time. And you get close to September 1st, and all of a sudden they ghost you. Why do they ghost you? Well, one, maybe they found somebody better, because you're not the only one they're talking to. They're looking to upgrade all the time. Two, maybe they're not really in a position to have you come meet them. They're in a relationship, or their family life is not as they portrayed it. Maybe they have children, and they told you they didn't. Maybe they have a boyfriend that they're trying to break up with, but they don't want to until they're sure they've met the right foreigner. And all of a sudden, she's not there no more. That happened to me. I'm talking to her away, and then one day, no reply. And I would be messaging her, what's wrong? No reply. Did you break your phone? You're just curious. And, it's fantasy that you think it's somebody you really want to meet, but you want to, and you're trying to connect with her. And then eventually you get a message from her, either from a different account, maybe they get a new account now, and they message you saying, oh, I'm sorry, somebody hacked into my account. I have too many problems right now. I can't see you. Things always happen. And meeting that girl is hard. Even a local girl who has the right intentions, you'll want to meet, and you'll set up a date. And then you're there early, and then she's late, and you're waiting, and you message her, and you get no reply, and then you get a message later, I can't come, because they got scared and they didn't want to come. It's tough dating. It is tough because the relationship issues, especially when you're looking for a girl that hasn't been playing around a lot. If you're looking for somebody sincere, it could be that they're just shy and they don't want to meet you. But these little things become nightmares to you. They don't want to meet me, but maybe later they want to meet you. Now let's get into once you met somebody. What are some of the nightmares? You get into this, what I call the Sari-Sari syndrome. The Sari-Sari store. You're the foreigner, and you go visit the family, and they got a Sari-Sari store, but it's out of stock. Or everybody wants a red horse, and you buy. And you pay for it all at the Sari-Sari store. It's your job because you have deep pockets, they think. And it's your job because they think you have expendable income to financially support the family. And I'm not talking about giving them allowance or something, but when you show up, they're really anticipating gifts. They're anticipating you helping out the family. Always think about this. When you give them money, it's a gift. We're just sharing the blessing with you. Don't let them think it's an ongoing thing. Keep your money private. Don't let them know how much money you have or make. What you tell your girlfriend's up to you, but definitely don't tell the family. And then when it's time to go back to school, all the kids, they need school supplies, they need new book bags, and they're looking for you to help them out. It's real easy to say, oh, I need money to help my son or my daughter with school supplies. This can happen, and it does happen. And you have to, set those, quote, boundaries. That's the nightmare of dating somebody. When you find someone you really like, doesn't mean all the family's great. You're dating the girl. You're not dating the family, but the family is part of the package, and you have to learn to say no. And the best way to do that is in the very beginning of the relationship. And when you're dating this girl, the cultural communication, let's put it like that, called tempo, the silent treatment, deadly but silent. Me, I look at tempo as the chance to live in peace and quiet for an afternoon or an evening. If she's mad at you or she's upset about something and she goes into this quiet mode, just doing the dishes, cleaning the house, sitting in the bedroom, watching TikTok or singing to her phone and leaves you alone, enjoy that moment of peace and quiet. It might be a while before you get it back. There are issues here when people or couples have problems. Yelling is not one of the ways to solve the problem. The women really don't like the yelling and screaming. Back home in the U.S., man, you and your partner would scream at each other, throw things, the typical fights back home. Here, it isn't like that. It isn't like that. The girl is more shy and more timid, but she may put her foot down. And putting her foot down is with tempo. She's going to let you know she's not happy with it. Yes, you're the boss. You're the head of the household. Whatever you want to call yourself, you wear the pants in the family. But it's a two-way street. If she's not happy, you're not happy. Communication between a couple, especially if her English isn't really good. If you have a girlfriend or a partner with weak English, there's a lot of words that get misunderstood, especially if you start to speak quickly. You have to slow down the speech so they understand you. And sometimes out of frustration, the more tense the situation may be or more upset the girl gets, her ability to translate the English into Tagalog or Visayan and vice versa becomes harder and harder. It becomes frustrating. So the communication skills, sometimes it can be a nightmare dealing when all of a sudden she doesn't understand what you're saying. And you have to deal with this. And again, tempo, embrace it. How do I see a lot of couples handle verbal problems if they're having a little communication problem? A lot of times the guy leaves. He goes, I'm going to go into town, have lunch, meet some friends. And then he comes back in the evening and everything's better. Sometimes separation can calm everybody down because then you can just text back and forth, I'm sorry or whatever. And don't get into an argument, a yelling match with your partner. And I'll tell you this one nightmare I had when I first came to the Philippines in 2022. I was dating a beautiful woman, beautiful in spirit, beautiful in heart, beautiful in physicality also. And behold, one day there was a couple older women behind us in the jeepney. And I could tell Charlene was upset in the face when we got off the jeepney. And she told me, they were talking about me. They were saying, I'm using you for money. And they don't even know me. And this is what you have to deal with sometimes, is the chismas of old people and people who are very traditional. And you come over here as an older man and you start dating a younger woman. If you go in the province, this is going to be an issue. If you're going to live in the province, you're the older guy, she's the younger girl. And a lot of the women might have little smart things to say. And on that same trip, we went into the open market right outside the mall. And I wanted to buy some fresh vegetables. I wanted to get some potatoes. I wanted to have some potatoes and carrots. And we bought some. And as we're at the counter and we're looking at the produce and picking out what we want, a beggar woman comes up. And then she said something to Charlene and walked away. And I asked her, I said, what did she say? She goes, she said, I have a rich foreigner and I can't spare a couple pesos for her. And that really made her feel bad too. Some people live that stigma of the girls are only trying to use you for your money. And the girls, some do, but a lot don't. Now here's a new one for me. This one is turning into a slight nightmare for me, is my health and energy. I'm an old man, and I'm not going to tell you how young the girl is I'm dating, but she wants to do things. When the sun goes down, she wants to go where the Zumba is and where the music is on the boulevard. And yeah, I'll go do all that kind of stuff. She wants to go to one of the bars where there's a band playing, and I'll go do all that. But I can't do it every day. I don't want to do it every day. I don't even want to do it every other day. It's just something to do once in a while. There's a health and energy. You get sick easier. I do. I get sick much easier now than I used to. Respiratory cough, a cold when I travel. I think I'm a pretty active guy, but trying to keep up with someone young, it can be frustrating because they're always on the go. They have plenty of energy. Now, don't get me wrong, a ton of these women love to hang out at home. They're not out there, bar hopping and all this kind of stuff, but they like to hang out at home. But then they have energy. Their friends will come over and they'll sit in the kubo here until 10, 11 o'clock at night. And me, I'm tired. I'm going to bed. And, we won't get into the sexual energy that these girls have, but it's just something you're going to have to deal with as a 72-year-old. If you're in your 70s, 60s even, and you're dating someone 20, 30, 40 years younger than you, the energy level that you got to maintain, you got to think about that for a moment. Can you keep up? And I have trouble keeping up sometimes. A lot of times I can keep up. I'm pretty good at that. But there are days when I say, today, leave me alone. But most of the time, it's you, the older man, who runs out of energy and has the health issues over the younger Filipina. And the other nightmare, and the final nightmare for me, is the expat bubble, the small town chismas, the small town gossip, Dumaguete gossip. When I became single, I made it a decision not to date anybody in Dumaguete. I was going to go away from Dumaguete. I really didn't want to date anybody who was friends with Janet and myself. I didn't want to date anybody who was friends with her still. I just wanted to keep that relationship separate and look for somebody outside my geographical area. It didn't work out that way. I ended up finding someone here in Dumaguete, but the chismas, if you go date somebody, and there were a couple that I dated here, and when I mentioned to people who I was dating and I showed them the picture, they go, oh, she's dating this guy and she's with this guy. Or I show a waitress in the restaurant, I said, do you know this girl? She's messaging me. And they tell me, oh, that's Harry's girlfriend. So the small town gossip, the small town chismas, sometimes it's better to find somebody farther away and then bring them to you. And I could see this happening in Cebu City, Isle Mall. You run into a girl there that's pretty and you start dating her, and she's dated 2 or 3 other guys that hang out there. And now you get that gossip. Oh, she's the, pass around girl. Well, maybe she's a great girl who had 2 bad relationships and you're the 3rd one and it's going to work out, or maybe not. Dating in your own little community, if you're a long-term resident. Now, when you just show up, date whoever you want, do whatever you want. But if you've been living somewhere for a while, it gets a little bit iffy. It's just being a rookie at dating. I've made so many mistakes. And getting back into the water again, it's hard, nerve-wracking. It's a nightmare at times. You get taken advantage of, or people are always trying to take advantage of you. Let's hope you guys can learn from some mistakes that I made, mistakes other men have made, and try to stay away from those mistakes. But if you make a mistake, big deal. Hop back on the horse, try again. Until next time, thanks for watching.